live, going live, going live, going live, going live, going live. What's going on, YouTube? It's Unger to the Max here. A salute to you. And as the title indicates, well, it's a Tuesday afternoon. And guess what? I've been thinking again. So let's just talk. Talk about it. And I've been thinking about various things, ranging from why fans wear jerseys to certain games and to Kyrie Irving maybe going to the Dallas Mavericks, or why certain cities don't have certain teams, or game 4 from last night, game 6 tonight, and possible Stanley Cup final preview and the storylines that could go with it. And all these various topics are just floating around in my head. And I figured you might want to hear some of them. Maybe I don't get a lot of viewers right now, but you guys always come on and watch the videos after the live stream is over. So that's fine. Whatever happens, happens. That was a little bit of repetition. Oh, well. And, yeah. So what to start with? Okay. How about this? So, the Boston Celtics, okay? We all know they had a chaotic and dysfunctional and at times dramatic, maybe dramatic's not the right word, but, well, you know what I mean. Dysfunctional, chaotic, dramatic, whatever you want to call it, season, which ended in the second round in 5 games at the hands of the Milwaukee Bucks, who will try to go up 3-1 against the Toronto Raptors tonight in Toronto. Although I don't think that's going to happen, I think the series is going back to Milwaukee tied 2 games apiece, and Milwaukee wins game 5. Toronto then comes back and wins game 6, and Milwaukee wins game 7, and we get a Warriors-Bucks NBA Finals, and the Bucks win that series in 7. Yes, although the Warriors could win that series if they had Kevin Durant. But as of right now, he ain't coming back. I mean, he missed all 4 games of the Portland series, which I don't know if Denver would have put up much more of a fight than Portland did. I mean, Portland had the lead in games 2, 3, and 4 by double digits. Couldn't hold the lead in any of those games. I mean, just last night, Portland had a 17-point lead. Golden State comes back, forces overtime, and then Damian Lillard couldn't hit the buzzer beater to send the series back to Oakland for a game 5. And the Trailblazers get swept and lose in game 4, 119-117. But anyway, back to the Boston Celtics. So, like I said, we all know they had a chaotic, dysfunctional, dramatic at times regular season. Again, maybe dramatic isn't the right word, but we'll go with it anyway. So, I think part of their downfall was Brad Stevens putting Gordon Hayward into the starting lineup in like the second game of the season or something. That was one of the worst coaching decisions I've seen this season. Seriously, it was. Because you're coming off going to the Eastern Conference Finals last season, going all the way to Game 7, in which the Celtics should have beat us in that game. I'm not going to lie. Boston should have won, and I think Boston would have made it interesting against the Warriors. Although I think Golden State still would have won that series, but I think the Celtics would have at least pushed that series to maybe 5 or 6 games. Instead, we advanced and promptly got swept. What can you do? But anyway, yeah, so you had Kyrie, and he is an elite point guard. I'm not going to lie. But there's just, if you're not on the same page as him, he's going to rub you the wrong way. And I think that's really what happened in this situation. I mean, Terry Rozier was on ESPN First Take the other day and said the environment with Kyrie made for us in Boston was toxic. I think that toxic was the exact wording he used. So it just was very dysfunctional. So, yeah. But I think the Celtics will be better without Kyrie. I think as long as they make their starting lineup Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Morris, and Al Horford, and bring Gordon Hayward off the bench, you're fine. If you put Gordon Hayward in the starting lineup, though, I don't see that working at all. Now, Kyrie Irving, I don't think he's going back to Boston. I mean, that's why he got traded out of Cleveland, just because he didn't want to be in LeBron's shadow anymore. So he goes, I want my own team, and then give me that. So the Cavaliers, and he tried to insult LeBron and all this and that. And he got what he wanted. He got traded to Boston. I mean, the trade definitely worked out for Boston better than it did for us, because we got Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder back in that trade, and, well, neither of them are with us. Jay Crowder's out in Utah, and I think Isaiah Thomas is with the Denver Nuggets now. Yeah. But just think about this. What if Kyrie Irving were to leave the Boston Celtics? Well, not that what if, because I think that's for sure happening. I think Kyrie Irving is not going to be a Boston Celtic this coming season. He will be on a different team. And thinking about free agency options, you've got the possibility of him teaming up with Kevin Durant with the New York Knicks. Okay. He could maybe go to the Clippers. Maybe go to the Brooklyn Nets. Although I don't think Brooklyn would want to do that because they have D'Angelo Russell. Although D'Angelo Russell got in trouble with substances. Yeah. Anyway. What if he didn't go to the New York Knicks? What if he didn't go to the Los Angeles Clippers, who should not be in Staples Center? They should have their own arena, by the way. Maybe you move the Clippers to San Diego, or maybe you move the Clippers to Seattle. I would love that. But anyway, what if Kyrie Irving chose to go sign with a team in Texas, but not the Houston Rockets and not the San Antonio Spurs? What if Kyrie Irving signed with the Dallas Mavericks? Think about that. Could it work? Maybe. But it could also turn into a disaster. I get that. But just think about that. Kyrie with Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. It could work, but it also, as I said, could be a disaster. It's hard. But, what are you going to do? And the one problem I see with that move, and I've heard these comments as well, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, I don't think could play together because they both like to be the primary ball handler. You saw that with the Mavericks. last season. The ball was mostly in Luka's hands. But let's just say Kyrie Irving does sign with the Mavericks this offseason. I don't think it actually will happen, but it's a hypothetical. So who cares? So let's just say that Kyrie Irving does sign with the Dallas Mavericks. Could Luka Doncic learn to play without the basketball and let Kyrie Irving be the primary ball handler? I think he could. And maybe that team could be dangerous with Kyrie and Luka and Kristaps Porzingis. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but hypothetically, how good would the Dallas Mavericks be if Kyrie Irving were to go to the Dallas? If Kyrie Irving were to go sign with the Dallas Mavericks? It's hard to say. Now, here's another one. I don't think Kemba Walker is going to stay with the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, he loves the city and the Hornets love him. I get that. But the Hornets aren't doing anything. They're kind of stuck in neutral, I want to say. I almost ended the stream, but I chose not to. Because like I said, even if I get no viewers during the stream, I know I get viewers after the stream. So I'm fine with that. But anyway, so what if Kemba Walker went to Dallas? Maybe that could work better. Because Kemba doesn't need the ball in his hands. Maybe that could work. But Luka Doncic, the problem is Doncic likes to be the primary ball handler. So I don't know. But I think if the Mavericks are able to get some superstar, like I'm not sure what type of superstar would fit, but if they could get a superstar, they could be a dangerous team. I mean, Doncic and Porzingis are going to be a force, I think, this season. But I think the Mavericks are just missing something. I'm not sure what that something is, but I think the Mavericks are missing something. So, yeah. And like I said, I was thinking about all this stuff. And, you know me. I like to go back and watch old playoff games, whether it's the NBA. I'm not going to get into that whole thing with iTunes and my frustrations. And maybe the NBA just pulled their games from iTunes and went, nope, you can't buy your games on iTunes anymore. You got to buy them through us. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. But I also like to go back and watch Stanley Cup playoff games or Stanley Cup final games or NFL games from the regular season, NFL playoff games, World Series games, ALDS, NLDS, NLCS, ALCS, NL wildcard, AL wildcard, all that type of stuff. And I was watching Game 6 of the 2015 ALCS between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals, and I saw Ben Zobrist hitting for the Kansas City Royals. He hit a home run off David Price to put the Royals up 1-0. And that got me thinking about something again. And it's this. Hold on 1 second. So I'll read you the exact thing I wrote. I'm watching Game 6. I think it's interesting that in 2015 and 2016, the Royals and Cubs won the World Series. And there was one person on both teams who played a key role for both teams, and that's Ben Zobrist, especially since Zobrist won the World Series MVP with the Cubs. I just thought that was interesting. And people are just like, okay, old news. Yeah, it is old news, but still, I like, talking about it anyway, because I just think it's interesting. Yeah, I'm talking about something from 2015 and 2016, but you know what? Who cares? Sometimes it's fun to talk about the past in that type of way. So who cares? So Game 6 of the Western Conference. Nice. The Indians are doing well. Okay. Although I think they lost to the Oakland Athletics last night 4-3. So anyway, Game 6 of the Western Conference Final is tonight between the San Jose Sharks and the St. Louis Blues. If the Sharks win tonight, then there will be a Game 7 in San Jose on, let me double check, I believe it would be on Thursday. Let me double check. I believe Thursday. Let's see. Yes, Game 7 would be Thursday at the Shark Tank. But tonight, it's in St. Louis at the Enterprise Center. Yeah. So anyway, I'm rooting for St. Louis tonight to go to the Stanley Cup Final. Not only because St. Louis has never, I'm pretty sure St. Louis has never even been to the Stanley Cup Final. So they've never won a cup. But it would also create an interesting storyline, which is this. David Backes plays for the Boston Bruins, who hopefully, whether it's the Sharks or Blues, hopefully one of these two teams beats the Bruins. Not only because I hate the Boston Bruins, number one, because I consider them to be a dirty team, but number two, they beat my favorite team in the NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets, in Game 6 of the second round this year, 3-0. I literally cried about that. My dad was not happy with me that I cried about it, but, I'm that passionate of a Blue Jackets fan. So, and also it was the first time the Blue Jackets had ever made it to the second round in franchise history. And we probably won't be able to keep Sergei Bobrovsky, Artemi Panarin, Matt Duchene, Ryan Dzingel, and a bunch of the other free agents. So it just sucked to see the season end. We needed to win Game 4. If we had won Game 4, we would have won that series, and we would have been in the Eastern Conference Final against the Carolina Hurricanes, and I think we could have won that series. But unfortunately, we lost Game 4, and then we couldn't recover after that. Anyway, what was my... Oh, yeah. So David Backes is with the Boston Bruins. But he started his career with the St. Louis Blues. So think of how interesting of a story that would be. If the Blues played the Bruins. First off, it would be a change because our first two championships have been Boston against California. We had the Red Dodgers against the Red Sox, and we had the Rams against the Patriots. Of course, half of America was rooting for the Rams because pretty much all of America, except New England, hates the Patriots. Yeah, because they're cheaters and seem to avoid getting caught for it. Or they're somehow able to reduce their punishment. Like, for example, for Deflategate, Tom Brady should have been suspended 6 games. Nope, he only gets suspended 4 games and comes back against the Browns and absolutely destroys them, and then the Patriots go on to win the Super Bowl. Ho-hum. It's like Roger Goodell loves Tom Brady and goes, oh, or it's like Roger Goodell is afraid of Tom Brady, and when Brady fights him, Roger Goodell's like, oh no, it's Tom Brady. Okay, I'll reduce your suspension from 6 games to 4 games and let you come back against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. There you go. That's what it feels. That's what it felt like. Maybe that was a little over dramatic, but I don't care. You get the idea. And, people are going to say, well, you can't call them cheaters because nobody ever really caught them. But at the same time, they didn't get caught. So you can still call them cheaters. I still sometimes will call them Kuram Mawasi. You have been thinking about what? I've been thinking about various things. Like, I started the live stream by talking about what if Kyrie Irving were to go to the Dallas Mavericks? Could that work? Or what went wrong for the Boston Celtics this season? Or, what if could the Blues potentially beat the San Jose or the Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup final? And various other topics, which I will touch on in this live stream. Kyrie is not going anywhere. That's not true. Kyrie is definitely leaving the Boston Celtics. Oh, you live in Dallas. How do you feel about the Mavericks for this upcoming season? Do you think Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis are actually going to do anything? But because I think they have the potential to do something. Maybe not win the championship, but possibly be like a 6, 7, or 8 seed in the playoffs. But I don't think Kyrie Irving would work with the Dallas Mavericks. As much as I would love to see that, Kyrie and Luka Doncic both want to be the primary ball handler. And that just doesn't work. You can't have 2 primary ball handlers on the same team. No. That's just not how it works. So anyway, let's get back to hockey. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I actually love the St. Louis Blues. I'm not sure why, but I've always Thunder fan, most likely, but Mavs as my second team. Why are you an Oklahoma City Thunder fan? If you live in Dallas, how come you're not a Mavericks fan? You still watch the games. So, if you're a Thunder fan, how did you react when the Mavericks won the championship in 2011 against Miami? Did you, go crazy and tackle your dad and all that? Oh, I'm describing myself when we won the championship in 2016. Yeah, I literally, tackled my dad after that out of pure excitement. My God. I got the championship gear. I went to banner raising night. It was absolutely amazing. Oh, you were born in OKC and I have family over there. Got it. So I bet you weren't too happy with Damian Lillard hitting that buzzer beater to eliminate your Thunder then, man. So Although the Trailblazers just got swept by the Golden State Warriors. And the Trailblazers just could not close any of those games. In games 2, 3, and 4, they had double-digit leads in all of them. Game 4 last night, they had a 17-point lead. Couldn't hold it. Couldn't hold on to it. Golden State promptly comes back and goes, yeah, 17-point lead. We don't care. Yeah, I'm sure you weren't happy. OKC's interesting. I mean, I have mixed feelings about the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the primary reason is because they wouldn't exist right now if Howard Schultz hadn't been so freaking stupid. So, in 2008, he decides to sell the Seattle Supersonics. Not to a Seattle-based group, but to Clay Bennett, and a group based in Oklahoma City. Were you not thinking that through? I mean, yeah, Clay Bennett is going to say at the press conference, yeah, we're going to keep the team in Seattle and we're not going to move them to Oklahoma City. Yeah, he was playing possum because he promptly moves the team to Oklahoma City and renames them the Thunder. So I want to root for the Thunder, but it's hard for me because as an NBA fan, I have this goal to see a game at every NBA team's arena. And I still have to go to Oklahoma City and see a Thunder game at Chesapeake Energy Arena. But originally when I made that goal, I wanted to go to cities like Seattle or Portland or San Antonio, Dallas, cities like that. But for some reason, the one city I really wanted to see was Seattle. I'm not sure why, but I really wanted to see Seattle. And because of how stupid Howard Schultz was, I can't do that. So I'm going to go a little bit political for a minute. Howard Schultz announced that I'm pretty sure Howard Schultz is running for president. Let me double check on that. Howard Schultz, president. I'm pretty sure Howard Schultz is running for president. And because of my feelings towards him and what he did to the Supersonics, I will not vote for him. I know, again, that might sound like a stupid reason. And perhaps it is a little bit of a stupid reason. But for me, it's enough. I'm not voting for him. You might be thinking, oh, Josh, that's a stupid reason. Why don't you're not even basing off your opinion off any of the things he might want to do as president or if he were to get elected or all that. I know, but for me, it's enough. So, yeah. But I would love to see the St. Louis Blues win the Stanley Cup. I'd love to see the San Jose Sharks win the Stanley Cup. Okay, let me just put it like this. I'd much rather see one of the two teams involved in the Western Conference Final win the Stanley Cup over the Boston Bruins. Again, not just because I hate the Boston Bruins, because I believe they're a dirty team, and because of what they did to the Columbus Blue Jackets in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, but also because the Bruins have been to the Stanley Cup final before. They were there in 2013, although they lost to the Chicago Blackhawks when the Blackhawks scored like 2 goals in 17 seconds. And then in 2011, they caused Vancouver to pretty much get destroyed when the Bruins beat the Canucks in Game 7 to win the Stanley Cup. So the Bruins have been there before. The Blues and the Sharks, yes, the Sharks were in the Stanley Cup final in 2016, but they lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I don't think the Sharks have ever won the Stanley Cup. And I don't think the Blues have ever won the Stanley Cup. I don't even think the St. Louis Blues have ever. You're not really a hockey guy? Okay, I'll change this up. I love talking hockey. Anyway, so I don't think the Blues have ever even been to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Or Stanley Cup final, I should say. They've been to the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. So I meant to say I don't think the Blues have been to the Stanley Cup final. And like I said, I think that would be a great storyline because David Backes, who now plays for the Boston Bruins, started his career with the St. Louis Blues. Now, I do like the St. Louis Blues, but they're not my favorite team. So I might, if they win the Stanley Cup, I might purchase their Stanley Cup championship film, but I don't think would buy the t-shirt and the hat and all that. But if the Columbus Blue Jackets or the Colorado Avalanche were to win the Stanley Cup the Avalanche did win the Stanley Cup, but if they did it again, or if the Blue Jackets win the Stanley Cup, yeah, I would want everything because the Avalanche and the Blue Jackets are my two favorite teams. And I saw that Ndamukong Suh signed with Tampa Bay Buccaneers after they released Gerald McCoy, who the Browns were interested in trading with the Buccaneers for Gerald McCoy, but apparently the price was too steep. And when the NFL posted, or NFL Network, I should say, posted that the Buccaneers released Gerald McCoy, Demarius Randall, Odell Beckham Jr., and somebody else, Jarvis Landry, all commented underneath. What do those three players have in common? Let me think. What do Demarius Randall, Jarvis Landry, and Odell Beckham Jr. all have in common? Is it that they play for... Oh, I know. They all three play for the Cleveland Browns. There you go. So, let's talk about my team, the Cleveland Browns. So, I've been hearing people say, oh, the Browns are going to go to the Super Bowl. They're better than the Patriots now and all this and that. And I want to get excited about the Browns. I mean, they just had a 7-8-1 season, their first successful season in years. And I'm fine with people saying, oh, the Browns can win the division. But I don't want to go as far to say the Browns are going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't want to say that yet. Because first off, I don't know the last time the Browns have ever won the division, if ever. And the Browns have not been to the playoffs since 2002 when they lost to the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to temper my excitement a little bit. They've got a tough schedule. The Browns have a tough schedule. And I will be doing my NFL schedule prediction live streams at some point. I'm going to try and group them like AFC and NFC. Baker Mayfield fan, but I don't think the Browns are a Super Bowl team yet. I agree. I think we can win the division, and we might go to the AFC Championship game, but I don't think we're a Super Bowl team yet. I think we're a year away. But here's the Cleveland Browns schedule. Browns schedule. Get it straight from the Browns website. Okay, so preseason, week 1 at home against Washington. I know they have an actual team name, but I find their team name and logo to be extremely discriminatory and racist. So I choose not to say their team name. I choose to just say Washington. That's my choice. Right. So I think Washington's team name is extremely offensive, extremely racist, and discriminatory. So I choose to just say Washington. I don't like saying that name. I will say it, but very rarely. So preseason week 1, the Browns are at home against Washington. Week 2, the Browns have a joint practice in Indianapolis against another one of my favorite teams, the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the reason the Colts are one of my favorite teams is because 2 of my favorite players of all time played for the Colts, Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne. I would love to go to a Colts game, but I would love to get a Peyton Manning Colts jersey or a Reggie Wayne Colts jersey. Preferably a Reggie Wayne Colts jersey. I've always been more of a wide receiver running back fan than a quarterback, and rather than a quarterback fan. I'm not sure why, but that's just my choice. I've been more of a receiver skill position fan rather than quarterback. So anyway, week 3 for preseason at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and week 4 for preseason, home against the Detroit Lions. All right, Browns regular season schedule. And I have season tickets, so I am hoping to go to all of the Browns games. Do you go to Cavs games often? I try to go to Cavs games often. Cleveland Cavaliers are my absolute favorite team. No matter what, I have been a diehard Cavaliers fan from the very beginning to now. Even though they were terrible this season, no, the Cavaliers weren't terrible. Even though we were hit with the injury bug a lot this season, I still wanted to go to games all the time. And I think that if we didn't have so many injuries, if Kevin Love wasn't injured for a lot of this didn't get injured, and Tristan Thompson didn't get injured for a lot of the season, we could have been a low playoff seed. Maybe 6, 7, or 8. Screw those LeBron fans. I mean, if you're a true fan of the Cavaliers, you would still be a fan right now, like I am. But if when LeBron was here with us originally, or this past stint, if that's the only time you're a fan, you're not a true fan. You might be a LeBron fan, but you're not a true Cleveland Cavaliers fan. Because even when LeBron went to Miami, during those 4 years, I still wanted to go to Cavaliers games all the time. I wanted to watch Cavaliers games. I live and breathe the Cavaliers. Sometimes I wonder if I have wine and gold colored blood. Seriously. I agree, Kuram. If you a LeBron fan, you can't have a favorite team. Okay, so Cleveland Browns regular season schedule. And again, I have Browns season tickets, so I'll try during these games to just take some footage at some random points during the game and post them on the channel. So week 1, the Browns have their home opener against Marcus Mariota, or Ryan Tannehill, don't know, Derrick Henry, Corey Davis, and the Tennessee Titans. Week 2, I will be getting in contact with Gangrene David and hopefully doing a video with him because we have Monday Night Football when Odell Beckham Jr. goes back to MetLife Stadium, not to play the New York Giants. Not to play the New York Giants, but instead to play the New York Jets. So it'll be Sam Darnold against Baker Mayfield. So we'll see. And then week 3, it will be a short week for us because we have Sunday Night Football against the defending NFC champions and the team that screwed the New Orleans Saints, the Los Angeles Rams, and the team that only put up 3 points in the Super Bowl and gave us one of the most boring Super Bowls in the history of the Super Bowl. So yeah, week 4 will be our first divisional test, and it's going to be a good one. Week 4, we are at the defending AFC North champions, the Baltimore Ravens. Although I don't think the Ravens will be quite as good this season because they lost a lot on defense. But they added a fair amount on offense. You're a Kemba Walker fan and you're not a Hornets fan. That's fine. Although I don't think Kemba Walker is going to stay with the Hornets after this season. I think he's going somewhere else. I'm not sure where. Maybe he teams up with Kevin Durant in New York. We'll see. So hopefully for week 4, I will be able to get in contact with Ingraven Vids and do a video with him like I did last year. And then week 5, maybe I'll try and get in contact with Niner J49 because week 5, we are on the road on Monday Night Football in the Bay Area against the San Francisco 49ers. And then week 6, I believe I will be doing a video with Norbcam, diehard Seattle Seahawks fan. And that's because week 6, the Seattle Seahawks, my favorite NFC team, will be coming to Cleveland to play the Cleveland Browns. Now, what's interesting is, Seattle is, I believe, 4 hours behind Cleveland. So I would think the NFL would have been smart and made this a 4:30 game or maybe like a Sunday night game. No, for some reason, this game, when the Seahawks come to Cleveland to play the Browns, is a 1 o'clock Eastern game. 1 o'clock Eastern time zone, 1 o'clock game in the Eastern time zone. So for Seattle fans, they have to get up at like 10 o'clock in the morning to watch it. I think that's really stupid. Week 7 is our bye week. And then week 8 is a good one because we go to Gillette Stadium to play the defending Super Bowl champions. And they won the most boring Super Bowl, one of the most boring Super Bowls ever. We play a team that likes to cheat and get away with it. Although people will say, but they don't cheat. You can't say they cheat because nobody ever saw them actually cheat. But you can't tell me that, don't worry, it could be a flex game. If you're talking about that Seahawks-Browns game, no, it can't. Because the NFL weeks 1 to 7, I believe, are not flex games. Weeks 8 to 16, I believe, are flex games. But they will not, I don't think the NFL will flex the Browns-Patriots game because the Patriots already have like 5 primetime games. So yeah, week 8, we are at the New England Patriots. So it will be Baker Mayfield against Tom Brady. Who, is he the GOAT? I'm not sure. Maybe Drew Brees is the GOAT. I don't know. Week 9, we are taking on Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, Joe Flacco, and the Denver Broncos in Mile High. Week 10, we're back home to take on Josh Allen, Cole Beasley, Ed Oliver and the Buffalo Bills. Week 11 is a short week because we have Thursday night football against a division rival, a team that Cleveland. Yeah, I believe flex games start in week 8. But in week 11, we have Thursday night football against a team that Cleveland fans at least consider to be a rival. I don't think the other team fans consider them to be a rival, at least not for the past couple of years. And even though I'm a Browns fan, I don't consider them to be a rival right now. They're black and gold. Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't consider the Steelers to be a rival right now, because the Steelers have flat out dominated the Browns. For it to be a rivalry, the games have to actually mean something and be competitive, and both teams have to always be fighting for something, and that hasn't been the case. So for me, right now, Browns Steelers is not a rivalry. Perhaps it's on the verge of becoming a rivalry again, but right now, not a rivalry. So week 12, Josh Rosen will most likely be the starting quarterback, but we'll see. Ryan Fitzpatrick might be the starting quarterback as well. And we'll see how they handle coming up from South Florida to Cleveland in late November. It's the Miami Dolphins coming into town. And then week 13, we go back out on the road to play Big Ben and Juju Smith-Schuster, James Conner. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, this time in Heinz Field, which has been a house of horrors for the Cleveland Browns the past couple seasons. Week 14, we play Andy Dalton or maybe Ryan Finley. We'll see. AJ Green, Joe Mixon, and the Cincinnati Bengals in Cleveland. Week 15, we are on the road to take on Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury, and the Arizona Cardinals. So, week 16 is our home finale, and we will be playing Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown. Who else? That's all I can think of. It's the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm just maybe Engraven Vids will want to do 2 videos this season. We'll see. And then week 17, we are in the jungle to play AJ Green, Andy Dalton, and the Cincinnati Bengals. So that's the Browns schedule. Now I actually want to give you the Indianapolis Colts schedule. Because, like I said, I'm also a big Indianapolis Colts fan. I always have been. Like I said, it's because Reggie Wayne and Peyton Manning played for both teams, and they're 2 of my favorite players of all time. That's why I like the Chargers, is because LaDainian Tomlinson is my favorite player of all time, and he played for the Chargers. So, that's why I like the Chargers. I wish they were still in San Diego. And I will touch on that in this live stream. But here's the Colts schedule. Week 1, coincidentally, the Colts are on the road against the Chargers. Week 2, the Colts are at the Tennessee Titans. Week 3 is the Colts home opener against the Atlanta Falcons. Week 4, the Colts will be at home against the Oakland Raiders. Week 5, the Colts will be away on Sunday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then it's their bye week. And then week 6, the Colts will be at home to take on the defending AFC South champions, the Houston Texans. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, week 8, the Colts will be at home against the Denver Broncos. Week 9, they will be at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Week 10, they will be home against the Miami Dolphins. Week 12, the Colts will be at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Week 13, the Colts will be at the Houston Texans. Week 14, home against the Tennessee Titans. Week 15, at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Week 16, at the New Orleans Saints. I believe that's Monday Night Football. Week 16, home against the Carolina Panthers. And Week 17, at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So those are the two schedules for the Browns and Colts. Yes, Colts and Chiefs will be interesting in Week 5. So I actually want to talk about something a little bit different in the NFL. So like I said, I have Browns season tickets. And whenever I'm at Browns games, I'm always interested to see how many of the away team's fans I see. I expect when the Browns play the Steelers, I expect there to be a high number of Steelers fans. Or when the Browns play the Bengals, I expect there to be a high number of Bengals fans because Cincinnati isn't that far from Cleveland. But like when we play the Seahawks week 6, although the Seahawks are a popular team, I don't expect to see many Seahawks fans because Seattle is a long way from Cleveland. And I think I might do half Seahawks, half Browns for that game. Maybe I wear a brown shirt and a Seahawks hat or something. Because, like I said, the Seahawks and Browns are my two favorite teams in all of the NFL. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens. But here's what I don't understand. And this doesn't just apply to the NFL. It could apply to any league, to the NBA as well. Let's say the Browns are at home against let's say the Browns are at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? So let's say, hypothetically, the Browns are playing the Chiefs at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, okay? So you expect there to be Browns fans, and you expect there to be Kansas City Chiefs fans. But here's what I don't understand. You'll be walking through the stadium or, in the parking lot tailgating, and you're looking around, and all out of nowhere, you see somebody wearing a Carson Wentz Philadelphia Eagles jersey, or you see somebody wearing a Travis Kelce that example doesn't work. Or you see somebody wearing a Andrew Luck Indianapolis Colts jersey. Or you see somebody wearing a Buffalo Bills hat. To me, that it just doesn't make sense. Like, why are you wearing another team's apparel when that team isn't playing in that game? Again, you're at Chiefs against the Browns. Again, I'm just using Chiefs against Browns as an example. But if you're at Chiefs against Browns, why are you wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey or a Minnesota Vikings hat? Or why are you wearing a Carolina Panthers Cam Newton jersey? Something like that. I'm not saying the Browns shouldn't allow that and make it a rule that, if you're coming to the game, you should only wear the away team, something for the away team or something for the home team. I'm not saying that. I'm fine with you wearing something that's for a team. I'm not sure how to put it. I guess to me, it just doesn't make sense. Same thing in the NBA. Let's say you're at a Cleveland Cavaliers game at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Again, due to the renovations, the ownership group felt the need to change the name of this arena from Quicken Loans Arena to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I'm not sure why. I saw someone wearing a Lakers Lonzo Ball jersey at a Thunder game against the Mavericks game in Dallas. It's weird. Yeah, that's weird. So, perfect example. Let's say you're at a Cavaliers game and they're playing the Orlando. Let's say you're at a Cavaliers game and they're playing the Chicago Bulls. Okay? So you're at Bulls against Cavaliers. You expect to see people wearing stuff to support the Cleveland Cavaliers because it's in Cleveland. So you expect more Cavaliers fans. But there's obviously going to be fans supporting the Chicago Bulls. But then out of nowhere, you see somebody wearing like a Giannis Antetokounmpo Milwaukee Bucks jersey. Or maybe you see somebody wearing like a Stephen Curry jersey. Or you see somebody wearing like a LA Lakers t-shirt. To me, it just doesn't make sense. It's weird to me. And I'm not saying like teams should make that against the rules. I don't believe that because I think that would be impeding on the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. But it just is out of place and weird. So here's one exception. Here in Cleveland, we have a minor league hockey team, the Cleveland Monsters. So to me, it's okay that people are wearing the Monsters are not. And hey, Storm Bucket, it's the old Storm Rise. Yeah, you changed your name to Storm Bucket, okay? So anyway, we have a minor league, an AHL team. AHL is just a step below the NHL. The AHL is the farm system for the NHL. Anyway, so the Monsters are part of the AHL, and they're the affiliate of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Although originally they were the affiliate of the Colorado Avalanche. That's why the Avalanche are my favorite Western Conference team, because that's who the Monsters were originally affiliated with. But anyway, so since the Monsters are not an NHL team, yeah, I know the NBA has the G League, but I'm just focusing on the Monsters for a minute because I'm talking about this whole jersey thing. And then I want to get to another topic that I was also thinking about. Anyway, so if the Monsters, again, are an AHL team, AHL is the equivalent to the NBA G League, which it really should be called the NBA D League. Anyway, that point aside, I'm fine with if you're at a Monsters game and you're wearing a San Jose Sharks jersey or a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey, or if you're wearing a Philadelphia Flyers jersey, that's fine to me because the Monsters are not an NHL team. They're an AHL team. So you're still supporting a hockey team by wearing a San Jose Sharks jersey or a Pittsburgh Penguins hat or Philadelphia Flyers shirt or jersey, whatever. But for me, if you're at like a Dallas Mavericks game and they're playing the Los Angeles Clippers, okay, and so you expect to see people in Clippers jerseys and Mavericks jerseys because those are the two teams playing. But if you see somebody walking around in like a Sacramento Kings shirt, you might look at them weird. Or maybe you don't, but I would, because to me it just doesn't look right and it looks out of place. To me, when I see that, I'm just thinking, why are you wearing something for a team that's not playing in this game. Like, I've been to, like I said, I have Browns season tickets, and I'll be walking in the parking lot going to a Browns game against the Baltimore Ravens, and I see somebody in a Buffalo Bills hat, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I don't want you to get that twisted. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, to me, it looks out of place and it doesn't look right. There's a difference between saying that it doesn't look right and just saying it's flat out wrong. Hang on, I want to clean my glasses. That's the way I do it. I know I look a little different without my glasses on, don't I? Yeah, so this live stream was a little bit slow in the beginning, but it has definitely picked up steam. There, that's better. Yeah, I definitely. There we go. So the other thing I want to talk about is cities that don't have all 4 leagues. And when I say all 4 leagues, of course, I'm talking about the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Now, I can think right off the top of my head, there are some cities that come to mind that, of course, have all 4. The most obvious being New York and Los Angeles. But you also have Chicago. You got Philadelphia. Let's see. Chicago, Philadelphia, LA, New York. What other city has all 4? Detroit. There we go. Boston, because the Patriots Stadium is just outside of Boston in Foxborough, so it still counts. So Boston, Detroit, New York, LA, Chicago, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, no. Toronto, no. Cleveland, no. Tampa Bay, nope. Atlanta, no. What other cities have all 4 teams? Washington, there we go. They've got the Nationals, the football team. Again, I choose not to say their team name. I find their name and logo to be racist and disrespectful. Are the Hawks a big or small market team? The Hawks? Do you mean the Atlanta Hawks? Hey, what's up, Midwest Sport? I'm just trying. What cities have all 4 teams? LA, Washington, Detroit, Los Angeles, Detroit, New York, Philadelphia, Washington. They have Boston. What other cities have all 4 teams? Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia. Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Los Angeles, Washington. Those are the only ones. Oh yeah, Dallas. No, I'm not talking about states. I'm talking about cities. Dallas has 4 teams. The Cowboys, who are not America's team, although for some reason they claim to be America's team, but they're not. The Texas Rangers. Rangers play in a suburb of Texas in Arlington, which I just saw news from Friday about the Texas Rangers, actually. that they will be playing in their new stadium, Globe Life Field, I believe it's called now. Yes. The Texas Rangers will host the St. Louis Cardinals on Monday, March 23rd, 2020, for the first MLB game, albeit exhibition, to ever be played at the new home for Texas Rangers baseball, Globe Life Field. Now, I'm not a Texas Rangers fan, but I can't wait to go down to Arlington and see a Rangers game at this stadium. I have a lot of respect for the Rangers, and I wish they had won the World Series in 2010 against the San Francisco Giants or in 2011 against the St. Louis Cardinals. There's a little rendering of their stadium right there. I'm sorry, the lighting's bad. Hopefully you can see a little bit better there. Yeah. But, so we've got Dallas, Philadelphia, Washington, Boston, Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. Are there any other cities that I'm missing that have all 4 teams? Let's see. Portland, no. Seattle, no. San Francisco, no. Because the reason I say no to San Francisco is because San Jose isn't really a suburb of San Francisco. San Jose is a different city. Los Angeles, New York, Dallas, Washington, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Boston. Okay? So I'm going to write these down. You've got Boston, Dallas, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington. Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington. Are there any other cities that have all 4 teams? MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL. Are we missing any? Am I missing any? I don't think so. So that leads me to my next point. St. Louis and Kansas City. And I'm also going to include Seattle in this. Wait. Phoenix. That's right. Because no. Because yes, the Suns and Diamondbacks play in Phoenix, but I don't think the Coyotes play in Phoenix, and the Cardinals don't play in Phoenix. St. Louis and Kansas City are regional. Okay, so anyway, St. Louis and Kansas City are 2 of the most diehard, loud fan bases I've heard. I've never been to St. Louis, but I would love to. I'm not a Cardinals fan. I'm a diehard Chicago Cubs fan. But so I went crazy when the Cubs beat the Indians in the World Series. Although I had mixed emotions about that because I'm also an Indians fan. But anyway, I know the Thunder are a diehard fan base too, but I'm focusing on St. Louis and Kansas City for right now. Okay? Cool? Cool. So even though I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, I would still love to go to a St. Louis Cardinals game. I'm just saying. And even though I'm a Colorado Avalanche fan, again, because that's who the Monsters were first affiliated with, I would still love to go to the St. Louis Blues game. I actually support the Blues somewhat. And I'm rooting for them tonight in Game 6 against the Sharks. Hopefully, the Blues will advance to the Stanley Cup final and they will beat the Boston Bruins. I'm just going to say it now. Whoever wins the Western Conference, I'm going to pick either the Sharks or Blues to win in 6. Because if either team wins in 6, it means they win in their home building and they don't win in Boston. Sorry, I just needed to reply to a text. But anyway, so St. Louis Blues.
What do you want to say? Sorry, I'm having.
St. Louis Blues fans and St. Louis Cardinals fans are two of the most diehard fan bases I've ever seen. And they're two very loud fan bases. And then over in Kansas City, Royals fans are extremely passionate about their team. You saw that during their run to the World Series in 2014 and 2015. And then with the Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium is always filled to the rim with red, and it's one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. And the Chiefs got screwed in the AFC Championship game last year because of the stupid overtime rule. And there were a couple other plays that went the Patriots' way that shouldn't have. Like the one play, the ball definitely touched the Patriots player's thumb, and that should have been a fumble, and that should have been Kansas City ball. The other one was one of the worst roughing the passer calls I've ever seen. All the defender did was tap Tom Brady on the shoulder, and yet he gets called for roughing the passer. I mean, on the one play, if Dee Ford hadn't lined up offside, none of that controversy would have happened. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. So Kansas City and St. Louis are two of the most passionate and loyal fan bases I've ever seen. Because even though the Royals aren't very good, people still show up to Royals games, and I usually hear them. Yeah. So what I don't understand is, first off, why did the Rams move out of St. Louis? I mean, I get that they wanted to move that, like, I get that LA is a big city and all this and that, and they're getting this brand new stadium and all that. I understand that, but I hate that LA gained an NFL team. I like that part, but I hate that St. Louis lost an NFL team at the same time. So my question is this. With the NFL for Kansas City, with the NFL and MLB both doing really well in Kansas City, why can't the NBA or NHL work in Kansas City? And then in St. Louis, Major League Baseball is doing really well in St. Louis, and the NHL, National Hockey League, is doing extremely well in St. Louis. So why can't the NFL work in St. Louis? Or why can't the NBA work in St. Louis? And again, with Kansas City, Major League Baseball is doing really well in Kansas City. The NFL is doing really well in Kansas City. So why can't National Football League? So why can't the NHL, National Hockey League, work in Kansas City? Why can't the NBA work in Kansas City? And then I'll give you another one. Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia have a rivalry with every sport, even if the two teams don't play each other all that often. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, the Penguins and Flyers, one of the greatest rivalries in all of the NHL. You have no idea what you're going to see with Penguins Flyers. You might see a game that ends like 10-0 in favor of Pittsburgh, and then the next game they play, you might see a 2-1 game that ends with like 200 penalty minutes or something. So Penguins and Flyers is a big-time rivalry. Pirates and Phillies is a great rivalry. And the Steelers and Eagles, although they don't play each other much in the regular season because the Steelers are in the AFC North and the Eagles are in the NFC East, and the AFC North and NFC East only play each other every 4 years, Steelers-Eagles is still a big rivalry. The only team in Philadelphia that doesn't have a Pittsburgh counterpart are the Philadelphia 76ers. Why can't we've seen how passionate and how big and how diehard of a fan base Pittsburgh fans are, whether it's for the Penguins or the Steelers or the Pirates. Look at the Stanley Cup final from 2016 and 2017. And with Steelers fans, no matter where you go, if the Steelers are playing your team, you're going to see terrible towels in your stadium. And yeah. And then with the Pirates, look at when they hosted the wild card games in 2013 and 2014. You couldn't find like an empty seat. If every seat was filled in PNC Park, which my dad and I were thinking about going to a Pirates game on the 23rd when the Pirates host the Colorado Rockies, but we decided not to. Number one, because the Pirates use a lot of fireworks during various parts of the game, and I don't really like fireworks. And also, my dad is in Tucson, Arizona right now, and he doesn't want to miss work more than he has to. So I'm fine with it. And we also thought about going on this coming Sunday against the Dodgers, but my dad didn't really want to go to Pittsburgh on a Sunday afternoon. And I believe that's Memorial Day weekend anyway. And so I'm fine. You told us about the fireworks at PNC Park. Okay. Anyway, so I just don't understand why Pittsburgh doesn't have an NBA team. I think Pittsburgh would love it. It would create, it would give the 76ers a Pittsburgh rival. And speaking of the 76ers, they either need to trade Joel Embiid or trade Ben Simmons. One of the two. Because right now it's not working with both of them. And if I were the 76ers, I would trade Joel Embiid. I would not trade Ben Simmons. Simmons, when he gets to the rim, it forces the defense to have to collapse, and he can just kick it out to JJ Redick or Tobias Harris or Jimmy Butler if all three re-sign with the 76ers. But you get what I mean. You would trade Simmons? No. Simmons is the much younger player. He can stay healthy. Joel Embiid has not proven to me that he can stay healthy. So I would trade Joel Embiid. Get a plus, or maybe fire Brett Brown. I don't know. But I don't think the 76ers are going to do that. But for some reason, that's true. Ben Simmons cannot shoot for his life. But again, Joel Embiid can't stay healthy. So you can't build your team around a center that has a good skill set. I'm not going to lie. Joel Embiid has a good skill set, but he can't stay healthy for his life. Every year, he has injuries. And for some reason, I don't know if it's coaching or what, but for some reason, he will not park his butt down low and just bully the centers. From what I saw of him in the series against Toronto, he was standing outside the 3-point line, catch it and just go shoot. He wouldn't try and drive to the rim or anything like that. No. So to me, Simmons is who you want to build your team around. So you trade Joel Embiid. Although this is just a rumor. I'm not confirming anything. I'm not sitting up here saying this is Josh Unger confirming that Philadelphia is trading Ben Simmons to the Lakers for LeBron James. No, I'm not confirming anything. But I have heard that the 76ers and Lakers have talked about a Ben Simmons for LeBron James trade. No. I think that would be a bad trade for Philadelphia. Because again, I like Joel Embiid, but he can't stay healthy. Right, I know Max Kellerman said something about trading Joel Embiid. That's kind of where I'm getting this from. And I'm a little bit upset because Magic Johnson was on First Take yesterday and, talked about why he abruptly left to the Lakers without telling anybody and, all the drama that went on with him and LeBron and all this and that. And I missed part of it. And usually ESPN is good about posting full episodes of shows on the ESPN app. And they put up today's episode of First Take. But for some reason, they didn't put yesterday's episode of First Take up. So all I've seen are bits and pieces of Magic Johnson's interview with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman on First Take. I've only seen bits and pieces of it on the ESPN app or the ESPN YouTube channel, something like that. And no, I'm not going to get into the iTunes thing because I'm still mad about that, but my parents are trying to find other ways to do it. And yeah. And maybe it's just that the NBA decided to pull the plug on iTunes and go, nope, we're not going to put our games on iTunes anymore. You have to come to us to watch these old games and all that. Anyway, so talking about Max Kellerman and Craig Sager leads me to my final point. And I hate to end on a note like this, but I want to. Cancer is a horrible disease, and it takes people way too early. And I've experienced it personally. I never had cancer, but cancer claimed my grandfather a couple years ago. Unfortunately, it was lung cancer. So that was hard because he's not around to have interesting political conversations with and, go fishing with him anymore. So that's hard for not just me, but my whole family. So, yeah. But cancer also took two people who I never knew them personally, but they're two people that I really looked up to, and they're two people that really inspired me to want to get into sports broadcasting and sports journalism, and they were part of the reason why I wanted to make YouTube videos like this, along with Norbcam and Gangrene David and Engraven Vids and Philadelphia and Gatorlone. Norbcam is with the Seattle Seahawks. Engraven Vids is for the Baltimore Ravens. Gangrene David is with the for the New York Jets. Philadelphia is for the Philadelphia Eagles. Gatorlone is for the Buffalo Bills. There's Niner J49, who's with the San Francisco 49ers, although I didn't really know about him until I did a video with Engraven Vids for the Week 17 game between the Browns and Ravens. But anyway, so the two people I'm talking about are Stuart Scott and Craig Sager. The day I found out Stuart Scott had passed away, I literally cried. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not over dramatizing that on purpose. I am being real and being kind of open. I literally cried the day Stuart Scott passed away. Just somebody I looked up to tremendously, and I'm starting to get a little emotional now about it, actually. That's how hard it hit me. Because one thing I love doing is in the morning, I love eating Cheerios with sliced bananas, one of my favorite breakfasts of all time, with some chocolate milk. And on the TV, I always turn on the TV and I watch SportsCenter or ESPN First Take, one of the two. And growing up, I got to watch Stuart Scott do his highlights, and have all his catchphrases. Like when Paul Canarco would hit a home run, when Canarco would hit a home run for the White Sox when he was still playing before Canarco retired. Hopefully, Paul Canarco goes in the Hall of Fame someday. And I think he will. But anyway, actually, I want to look. Paul Canarco Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. Hopefully, Paul Canarco will get into the Hall of Fame. But anyway, so I loved, slicing my bananas, putting them in with a bowl of Cheerios with chocolate milk, and eating them while I had SportsCenter on in the morning. And I loved watching Stuart Scott, whether it was with his catchphrases, like when Paul Canarco would hit a home run and he would go, "Booyah!" Or like, if LeBron did something really cool and he's like, if LeBron played really well under pressure in a game, he would go, "LeBron was as cool as the other side of the pillow." And he had all these catchphrases and all these wacky things that he did, but it all worked for him. And, he wasn't just a SportsCenter anchor. He hosted NBA Finals pregame shows or He was there on the court when the team was presented the trophy. I believe he was on the court when the Mavericks won the championship in 2011 against Miami. Yeah, Gus Johnson on Fox Sports is crazy, but I'm talking about Stuart Scott right now. Yeah, but I love Stuart Scott. Again, I literally cried the day I found out he passed away. I'm actually trying to hold back tears right now, just even talking about it. That's how hard it was for me. And I'm not just saying that either. I'm not purposely trying to over-dramatize, make this over-dramatic to end the video or anything like that. No. As I'm talking about Stuart Scott, I'm literally on the verge of tears. That's how much I wish I had gotten the chance to meet him and at least say goodbye or something, because I'm sorry, but he just he was just somebody I really looked up to and meant the world to me. It's just so hard to know that, like, when I watch SportsCenter now, I don't get to hear, oh, boom, booyah, there goes that baseball, or, he was as cool as the other side of the pillow, or any about his other cool catchphrases. It's just really hard for me. I'm literally crying about it. I don't even know if I can talk about the other guy. I'll try. So the other guy that really affected me, I didn't cry about him, but just because I didn't cry about this other man doesn't mean I didn't look up to him, and doesn't mean I don't hold him in the same, on the same pedestal as Stuart Scott, because I absolutely do. I just didn't express my sadness in the same way, and I think that's okay. No, Craig Sager. John Saunders was good, but I just didn't connect with John Saunders that well. No offense to him, and I hope he rests in peace, because I know he passed away as well, but no. For me, I just didn't connect with him. The two people I connected with are Stuart Scott, who I already discussed, and Craig Sager. I mean, Sager, I've read his book, and, he had to work for everything. And he didn't start out in the NBA. He started in baseball, and I'm pretty sure he was one of the first reporters going around the base path with Hank Aaron when Hank Aaron hit the record-breaking home run. And I think Hank Aaron is the true home run king. Barry Bonds, no, because he took steroids. To me, he does not belong in the Hall of Fame, and neither does Roger Clemens. But unfortunately, I think both will get there. So, I don't like that. Ugh. Although, supposedly, there's speculation that Mike Piazza might have done some sort of steroid or something like that. Can't confirm anything, but I think Piazza absolutely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. But my favorite player of all time is made it into the Hall of Fame. Got 99% of the vote. And I'll get back to Craig Sager, but until Mariano Rivera was unanimously elected into the Hall of Fame, Ken Griffey Jr. was the one that had the highest percentage of votes. And Ken Griffey Jr. is my favorite player of all time in baseball. That's why I like the Seattle Mariners. Many of the teams I like, actually, are because my favorite player of all time played for that team. Like, I like the Chicago Bears because Brian Urlacher played for the Bears. Or LaDainian Tomlinson played for the Chargers. That's why I like the Chargers. Maurice Jones-Drew, he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's why I like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Reggie Wayne and Peyton Manning, they played for the Indianapolis Colts. Two of my favorite players of all time. So I really like the Colts. You get it. But I'm just a Browns fan because I live in Cleveland. And I've always been a diehard Cavaliers fan because basketball is my number one favorite sport. I'm not sure why why the Cubs are my favorite baseball team. They always have been, though. I'm not sure why. I've never been to a game at Wrigley Field, which is where Craig Sager started his career. Went to a lot of Cubs games. He went to Northwestern and, but he really made his mark, when he was with the NBA at TNT. Because he wore these funky jackets. I remember he wore an all-pink jacket. And after the game, Kevin Garnett, and they have this on video, Kevin Garnett goes up to him and goes, I want you to take this home and burn it. And Craig Sager's like, what, you don't like it? Kevin Garnett's like, no. And I don't remember if that's exactly how he said it, but if you know what video I'm talking about, it's hilarious. Go, if you haven't seen it yet, go try and find it. It's hilarious. Kevin Garnett's like, I want you to take this jacket home and burn it. But he would wear that's just one example. Like Sager would wear all these weird jackets. Like I remember one suit he wore. It was like gray and it had like red and pink and yellow polka dot, red, yellow, pink, blue polka dots all over it and all that, and just really wacky stuff. And his interactions with Greg Popovich were hilarious. Like TNT was working a Spurs preseason game. Sager goes to interview Popovich, and Greg Popovich is like, what, they make us do these even in the preseason too? Oh, God. And again, it wasn't that exact wording, but Greg Popovich never gave him straight answers. He does this with the media too. He'll give like one-word answers, kind of like Bill Belichick. Like after the loss to Kansas City on Monday Night Football, Bill Belichick's like, we're on to Cincinnati. Or another question, we're on to Cincinnati. Yeah. Anyway, though, like Craig Sager, for some reason, never got to work the NBA Finals until 2016. Just needed to add my cousin to the chat. Okay, who's your cousin? Anyway. What was I just saying? Shoot. Oh, I remember. Craig Sager had never worked in the NBA Finals for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, the NBA Finals were on ABC, which is part of the ESPN family, but for some reason, from my chat with your cousins. Okay. But anyway. What was I just going to say? Oh, yeah. So even though like the NBA Finals are broadcast on ABC, which is part of ESPN, Craig Sager, TNT could have easily told Craig Sager, yeah, you can go work the NBA Finals. But for some reason, that never happened until Game 6, 2016 NBA Finals in Cleveland. Craig Sager was there. And, I wish I had been at that game because Sager got a standing ovation from the crowd, and I absolutely would have been there, done the same thing if I had been at that game. I think the reason I wasn't at that game is because I don't really like the Cavaliers intro. I don't know if you've been to a Cavaliers game before, but if you have, then you know they shoot out fire from the Jumbotron, from the sides of the Jumbotron out of the swords. And I don't really like those. So And I felt like in the NBA Finals, they would add more to the in terms of the pyrotechnics, and I was just too scared. So I chose not to go. I kind of regret that because who knows when the NBA Finals are going to be back in Cleveland. But something I regret even more is when I was in Miami to see the Dolphins play the Jaguars last winter, or last Christmas, I should say. I had watched the Dolphins I had watched the Miami Dolphins player introductions multiple times, because before I go to a new stadium that I've never been to before, I like to watch their player introductions so I know what to expect. So, since I knew we were going to the Dolphins game, I was watching their intro multiple times and I knew what to expect. Yes, I agree. Small market teams need to start competing in the NBA. And maybe I'll touch on that a little bit later. Although I'm almost at 2 hours, but oh well. And maybe people won't watch this full live stream. But even if you watch like 10 minutes of this live stream, I'm fine with that. However long you watch is totally fine with me. By the way, thank you to all the subscribers that have been on this channel from the beginning to now, and welcome to all the new subscribers, whether you subscribe because you saw me do a video with Gangrene David, or whether you saw me do a video with Ingrave Invades. No matter what your reason is for subscribing, thank you so much. When I first made this channel, I didn't even think I would sniff 100 subscribers. Now I'm at 177 subscribers. Only 23 subscribers away from 200. I never thought I would even get close to 200, let alone 100. So if you know people out there that are sports fans, tell them to subscribe to this channel. I want to get to 200. And then my next goal is 250 and then 300. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll get to 1,000 subscribers. Who knows? But right now, I'm 23 subscribers away from getting to 200. So like I said, I'm only 23 subscribers away from 200. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go do that now, please. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, and hopefully I'll get some more subscribers from doing my video with NorbCam when the Browns play the Seahawks week 6. Yeah, small market teams need to start competing in the NBA. Although, how can anybody compete in the NBA right now when you've got the Golden State Warriors just dominating? Just saying. Although, if the Bucks are able to win Game 4 tonight and then they win Game 5, if the Warriors don't get Kevin Durant back, they're not going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals. And the Milwaukee Bucks, a small market team, will be your NBA champions. And I think, I'm going to make my finals prediction now for both the Stanley Cup final and the NBA Finals. Starting with Stanley Cup Finals. The Stanley Cup Final 2019 will be the Boston Bruins against the St. Louis Blues, and the Blues will win the series in 6 games, and then the NBA Finals will be the Warriors against the Bucks, and the Bucks will win the series in 7. There you go. So that's going to do it for this live stream. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, punch that like button like a UFC fighter. And I'm just going to say it. Punch that subscribe button. I'm only 23 subscribers away from 200. Help me reach that goal. And then help me get over that goal. And then we'll start our climb to 300 subscribers together. Because if it wasn't for you, there would be this channel wouldn't be such a thing. I love making these videos, but it's you, the viewers, the subscribers that make this channel. I mean, your comments drive the live stream. Like the other day, unemployed Mario Yamasaki. I wasn't planning on talking about the UFC in that live stream that I did on Sunday, but Mario Yamasaki made a comment during the live stream, and it got me talking about the UFC. I'm fine with that. I'm cool. I've got everything else that I wanted to say in. And same thing with this live stream. Kuram brought up other points that led me to discuss various things and various topics that I wasn't planning on talking about. And I'm cool with that because I still discussed the other topics that I actually wanted to discuss. And I threw in some bonus stuff. So I'm cool with that. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? I mean, like I said, I'm only 23 subscribers away from 200. I never thought I would even get close to 200. So thank you guys. You're awesome. I don't know when I'm going to live stream next, but be on the lookout for it. Yeah. So I just had some thoughts and I wanted to share them. Yeah. And again, if you're at a Browns game against the Kansas City Chiefs, why are you wearing a Minnesota Vikings jersey? This is Unger to the Max signing off with a salute to you. And go Blues, beat the Sharks tonight in Game 6 and go win the Stanley Cup against Boston. The city of Boston does not need another championship parade. They already have had 2 this season with the Red Sox and Patriots.